So today we're finally going to be reading after some time. Sorry. There is no escape. Yandere SCP Foundation ex-listener up in here. So if I sound a little bit like I can't breathe or something like that, it's because I kind of do it on my face right now and it's covering my nose, so I'm breathing through my mouth. So excuse on my. So last part we left off at, basically it was just another Yandere alphabet before that. So I'm not gonna go too back on that one because honestly, it is just a Yandere alphabet. I'm not too worried about it. So, yeah, but I can tell you that these Yandere alphabets are just getting worse by worse day by day. I'm telling you. But hopefully this one isn't going to be too bad, but I have my doubts. Oh, sorry, damn. I severely have my doubts. So we shall see if it is truly worth it.
Hello everyone, so for some warnings going right ahead into this chapter, there will be mentions of death, a lot of Yandere, stalkerish themes, a little bit of insanity mixed in there too. What can you expect? Yanderes are a little crazy, there will be mentions of death, there will be mentions of trauma, like a lot of mentions. There will be more as more of the series comes out, which I do apologize in advance, y'all. And if I missed any other extra warnings that I was supposed to warn you guys about but sadly did not remember, they will be on the screen right now. Y'all have been warned.
Yandere alphabet, Dr. Simon Glass. And then the author's like, my version of Dr. Glass is kind of a psychopath. So, etc. Anyways, A, affection. How do they show their love and affection? How intense would it get? Oh boy. This man right here can rival Dr. Bright with how sweet he can get. He's a perfect friend/boyfriend. Always thoughtful, kind, and caring. And oh man, would it get intense at times. Blood. How messy are they willing to get when it comes to their darling? He's willing to get as messy as he needs to. Blood, shit, piss, vomit. It doesn't matter to him. As long as he gets his darling, in the end, he's happy. Cruelty. How would they treat their darling once abducted? Would they mock them? He's kind of weird with it. I think he would either drug his darling up until the point where they couldn't really struggle, or he would be so sweet it would almost hurt to go against him. No. Would he mock his darling? Why would he? This is the place you're supposed to be, darling. Aside from abduction, would they do anything against their darling's will? Probably drugging in how much affection he gives. He wants to hug, kiss, cuddle, etc. He'll probably drug his darlings because he doesn't want to get smacked in the face. Exposed. How much of their heart do they bear to their darling? How vulnerable are they when it comes to their darling? That's kind of a hard question, seeing how I didn't really think about it. I think he's kind of in the middle. I think he'll try and keep his fucked up relationship as normal as he can. Fight. How would they feel if their darling fought back? He would probably feel slightly annoyed. Why are you trying to ruin your perfect life with him? Why are you really doing this? Don't you like all of the clothes he's gotten you? Or maybe it's the chain. Is it the chain? He'd probably ask a lot of questions so he can see what's making you so unhappy. That's all. Once the unhappy thing is gone, you'll be happy. He's sure of it. Game. Is this a game to them? How much would they enjoy watching their darling try to escape? He doesn't really see this as a game. He just can't. He truly loves his darling. Why would it be a game if he is serious? He probably wouldn't enjoy watching his darling try and escape. Why are you escaping when you've got everything you want? Is something not right? Hell, what would be their darling's worst experience with them? of all that drugging would probably mess with someone's passage of time. I think waking up and looking around, feeling like you've been underwater for months, then having Dr. Glass walk in and ask if you're okay. Then you look outside and think, wasn't it just summer? As you watch the soft snow fall to the ground. Ideals. What kind of future do they have in mind for/with their darling? Married, 2 kids, living somewhere far away from other people, in a little house in the middle of the woods, with 1 girl and boy running around and calling you mommy. It would make his heart melt just thinking about it. Jealousy. Do they get jealous? Do they lash out or find a way to cope? He does get very jealous. He has reasons to in his mind. Like, why are you talking to him/her/they when you have him? Is he not good enough? He doesn't really lash out that much. He can't really. What would his darling do if he saw him like that? Probably hate him, so he can't have that. So he hides it until you're out of sight. Kisses. How do they act around/with their darling? The perfect husband/boyfriend. His darling would be blinded by how sweet he is and how kind, loving, caring, etc. They wouldn't know what happened. Love letters. How would they go about How would they go about courting/or approaching their darling? It would be overwhelming. Like, really. This man has everything you could want. Anything to win over his darling. He'd probably try and say sweet things moreover than giving things to them. He feels like his feelings are probably more strong than anything he can give materialistic speaking. Plus, if he gives too many things when you move in with him, there won't be enough room. And he gets kind of blushy when he gives things. He would probably sign his notes with his initials. I'm putting a little sample. This is just a little sample. Anyways, it's kind of annoying, you know. It really is. The way you look at that man and the way you look at me, they're so different. You have more light in your eyes when you look at him, not at me. What have I done wrong? I've given you my all, haven't I? I know the things I've done for you are bad, at least in your eyes. But just look at them as necessary. That's all it is. Trust me, love. You'll be your happiest with me. SJ. Mask. Are their true colors drastically different from the way they act around everyone else? A bit more obsessed, but other than that, he's completely the same. Still nice. Sweet. Old Dr. Glass. Naughty. How would they punish their darling? He probably would punish them by restraining them or maybe adding more drugs to their daily dishes. He absolutely loathes fighting because he sees it as a way he's failing you. How can he fail you when he's the best one for you? So he needs you to be nice and caring for him, because if you don't, he might just snap. Oppression. How many rights would they take away from their darling? Probably just outside roaming. He can't have you running now. He might just take away more things the more you act up, like locking you up in a room or maybe tying you to a bed. Patience. How patient are they with their darling? One of the most patient one out of them all. He can take a lot before he gets angry or starts yelling. He more feels sad and kind of stressed. He doesn't want to lose all of his patience with his darling. He really doesn't. But sometimes it just kind of slips out. Quit. If their darling dies, leaves, or successfully escapes, would they ever be able to move on? If his darling leaves him behind, he'll be broken. He'll feel like a part of him is missing. He won't be the same. So when he looks at some amnestics, he thinks maybe it will go away. Then it goes away, but at what cost? He seems to have forgotten what mattered to him most. Now if his darling runs, he'll follow. Him and you are meant together, no matter where you are. Regret. How would they ever feel guilty about abducting their darling? Would they ever let their darling go? He probably doesn't feel guilty about abducting his darling. Like at all. He's meant for them. He's the only one that can be with them. No. He won't let his darling go. He just can't. They're meant for each other, no matter what. If he lets you go, you won't be happy and he won't be happy either. Stigma. What brought about this side of them? Childhood, curiosity, etc. Probably the sameness in his darling. With all this craziness of the Foundation, he wants some sort of escape. Somebody he can just relax and hold, being calm and nothing else. The perfect little family tucked away far away from all the craziness of the world. Tears. How do they feel about seeing their darling scream, cry, and/or isolate themselves? With all of these screaming, the crying, and the isolating part, he'll just think they're unhappy, which you probably are, in the relationship. So he'll try and fix it, but in not so nice ways. Wanna be let out of those chains? Okay. All the doors and windows are now dead bolted and are made out of bulletproof glass. What, you want to go outside? Okay. Here's a greenhouse I installed made out of bulletproof glass and has an only an entrance with leads inside and outside of the house. Okay. That's extreme. Unique. Would they do anything different from the classic Yandere? It's kind of hard seeing how almost every doctor has a lot of defining traits that makes them special, but I can't really think about anything that makes him special. I mean, there's always the basic of the foundations, like the power he has and his own ability for psychological manipulation, but that could be attributed to any manipulative Yandere. I guess his ability to trick other staff members in the Foundation that he's completely normal. Not showing his obsession the most. Unless you're looking for it, you're not going to find the signs that you want. When Dr. Kondrake found out, it was because he overheard Dr. Bright and Dr. Clough talking about the tape. Even then, Kondrake had his suspicions, but it wasn't confirmed up until then. So like any sane person, he searched his room and found what he was looking for. Vice. What weakness can their darling exploit in order to escape? The weakness his darling can exploit is probably his overwhelming desire to please his darling. He wants the best with his darling, but he ain't stupid. He is not stupid and can see through a lot of plans. So be smart and vigilant. Wit's end. Would they ever hurt their darling? Physically, probably not. Mentally, on the other hand, or on mistake, probably. He might drug his darling so bad they sleep for extended periods of time. So they have to be fed and washed and other things, and he is not the best at it. On the mentality part, he might be a bit strange. He'll make sure they're happy, even if he has to make them pretend so he can lie to himself. I still don't know how to say that word. Whatever. How much would they revere or worship their darling? To what length would they go to win their darling over? He really does worship his darling. He really does. He loves them dearly and wants them to be happy with them. He would try and win his darling over by any means. He thinks you two are meant for each other. He loves them so much, he could just die. He should. Yearn. How long do they pine after their darling before they snap? A while. He can put up with a lot of things. There's one thing that will immediately make him snap though. The thing is when his darling goes into a relationship. When his darling goes into a relationship, it would immediately break him. He's like, why are you with him/her/they? Aren't I enough? The snap. Oh. And when Dr. Kondrake snaps, he snaps. Zenith. Would they ever break their darling? Honestly, he'll probably break his darling very quickly and very fast. The loving, caring, and kindness he shows can be overwhelming at times, and you'll almost immediately fall for it. It's almost hard not to if you don't expect him of a yandere, especially if you know him at work. Oh my goodness. Well, he doesn't sound bad until he mentions the drugs. I'm like, bruh. Overdosing? Have you ever heard that? Alright, so we are in another Yandere alphabet. It is of Dr. R. Gerald this time, though. And yeah, let's get into it. And then, author, give this man a break. Maybe. I don't know. Depends. Depends if he's the one who sniffed our underwear, try to. In chapters trillions of years ago, but I still remember because it's so nasty. Ugh. Anyways, affection. How do they show their love and affection? How intense would it get? The way he shows his love and affection is by awkward attempts like badly made cookies or a handmade present that's fucked up, etc. It wouldn't get that intense, just here and there. Blood. How messy are they willing to get when it comes to their darling? Probably not that messy. He probably just does the watching. He can get messy if he wants to. He'd just rather not get into those things. What if someone goes wrong and he can't see you? So he tries and only does it when needed. Cruelty. How would they treat their darling once abducted? Would they mock them? He's very skittish once he abducts his darling, while he worries about everything that could go wrong and everything that can. He probably wouldn't mock his darling at all. He's not the type. He's more the type to comfort his darling about any worries they have, even if he isn't the best at it. Darling. Aside from abduction, would they do anything against their darling's will? That's a very hard one to say. Dr. Gerald is very skittish and worried about everything, especially abducting his darling. The only thing he would force upon his darling is like force feeding or something if his darling refused to eat and stuff. He might also bathe his darling if they refuse to do it themselves. Okay. Exposed. How much of their heart do they bear to their darling? How vulnerable are they when it comes to their darling? He wants to bear all of his heart to his darling. He really does. Then again, he probably doesn't feel like he can bear his heart to them. He's actually very vulnerable around his darling, even though he tries not to be. He kind of wants to be his darling's shining hope for his darling like they are to him. Fight. How would they feel if his darling fought back? He'd probably cry, like a lot. Why would you do that to him when he'd already given so much when he already has so much on his plate? All he wants to do is give you his love. Game. Is this a game to them? How much would they enjoy watching their darling try to escape? This isn't a game to him at all, and he really doesn't enjoy seeing his darling trying to escape. He actually gets quite stressed if his darling tries to escape. He'll also get very confused if his darling thinks of him trying to express his love to them as a game. He might cry even more. Hell, what would be their darling's worst experience with them? Him probably breaking down in front of them, crying and screaming, "Why do you hate me so much?" And "I'm only trying to love you." This might go on for a few minutes before his sadness becomes anger. "I've done everything you wanted, and I'll show you how good you have it." Ideals. What kind of future do they have in mind for/with their darling? He just wants them to be happy with him. For them just to be happy together. He wants the stress to wash away when he's with them. Jealousy. Do they get jealous? Do they lash out or find a way to cope? He kinda has too much on his plate to get that jealous, but when he does, it's more like you kicked a puppy. He'll pout and whine about how much time you're spending with that person, and even give you the most watery puppy dog eyes ever, so you feel bad. He doesn't lash out to the person, in general. He just starts spending a bunch of time with that person in hope of one of his unlucky streak, or so we call it, his little accidents, get to the person and hopefully kills them. What? Kisses. How do they act around/with their darling? Very, very, very nervous. But it isn't the creepy nervous, that, yeah. Where it's like someone is planning something really bad and you can tell they're worried about getting caught. It's more the nervous when you can tell that person has a crush on another person, like puppy dog love, but it's at some insecurity. Love letters. How would they go about courting or approaching their darling? He would really give them a bad made gift, like really badly made ones. He'd probably go to the idea if it's homemade, it puts more emotion into it. So he makes everything he gives you. He won't give it to you in person He won't give it to you in person, but he'll leave it on your desk, and be a nervous wreck for the rest of the day wondering if you liked it. His litter would be done over 100 times before they got to his darling. And he's a little too cowardly to sign it with his name, so he signs it ambiguous. And then this is an example if he got, if he gave us a love letter. I made you some cookies. I hope you like them. Your secret admirer. Shortest one I've seen. Mask. Are their true colors drastically different from the way they act around everyone else? He's a little more nervous around his darling than others, but other than that, he's pretty much the same. He is also kind of more blushy around his darling, but that's a given. Naughty. How would they punish their darling? He will barely even look his darling in the eye. Do you really think he'll even lay a hand on his darling? He might. Just might leave his darling alone for a while so they might learn their lesson. He also might restrict some food or water, but nothing too serious. Oppression. How many rights would they take away from their darling? I think he would probably only take away his darling's outside privileges. He'd probably lock them in the basement and hope they'll be good so the two of them can share his house together. Patience. How patient are they with their darling? He's probably around this middle for the patience, but he still has a breaking point like everyone. He doesn't like losing his patience, seeing how he already has enough stresses in his life. He doesn't need nor needs any more stress to push him to that breaking point. Quit. If their darling dies, leaves, or successfully escapes, would they ever be able to move on? If his darling dies, he's done. Just done. That's it. He's going to leave and go somewhere very, very far away. He just can't deal with it anymore. It all is white noise now. If his darling escapes or leaves, he'll sit in some self-pity for a little while until he asks someone for help getting them back, or he goes after them himself to varying degrees of success. I thought I said depression, but whatever. Regret. Would they ever feel guilty about abducting their darling? Would they ever let their darling go? He feels extremely guilty about kidnapping his darling, like very guilty. He can feel the wretched feeling of guilt slowly calling at him on the inside, and it's killing him. He's probably the most out of everyone to actually let go of his darling. Stigma. What brought this about this side of them? Childhood, curiosity, etc. All of his stresses in life, and probably his tremendous bad luck. Sometimes it gets too much to bear, so he has to lean on someone for a little while. And that's what he sees in his darling. Tears. How do they feel about seeing their darling scream, cry, or isolate themselves? Again, he'd probably feel extremely guilty about it all. Every little shout that comes out of their mouth is another blade on his skin. Every tear down their face is like acid slowly tearing through his heart. Every cold glare when he tries to talk to them is like him standing in the middle of an ice storm. Unique. Would they do anything different from the classic Yandere? He's 10 times softer than any normal yandere. I think the only difference is, other than that he's probably his accident-prone tendencies. He'll probably accidentally hurt his darling and feel terrible about it. Though you'll probably forgive him thinking something along the lines of, he can control it, / he didn't mean any harm by it. Which is true, but he does mean to get sympathy from you, and will hang out around you hoping to get hurt, so you help. Vice. What weakness can their darling exploit in order to escape? His overly guilty conscience. If his darling can manipulate him into letting them go outside for a little, you'll probably get away. The way you look at the outside world, it almost makes him cry. He can see you miss the world, and then maybe, just maybe, he'll lose his grasp and let them go. It won't be for long, though. He'll soon snap back to his senses, realizing he can't live without you, and start a chase. Wit's end. Would they ever hurt their darling? On purpose? Almost definitely. Not on accident? Almost definitely yes. This dude has a lot of problems in life, and will feel very bad if their darling is affected by them. Random word. How much would they revere or worship their darling? To what length would they go to win their darling over? He worships his darling like a god. He loves them more than anything else in this world. He would try his absolute best to win his darling over, but sometimes your best is not good enough. Yearn. How long do they pine after their darling before they snap? He can actually pine after his darling for a while. It's kind of impressive how much he can last. He still can snap, though unlike Dr. Gears, though it might take a while. Zenith. Would they ever break their darling? If I'm being completely honest, he's probably out of everyone most likely not to break his darling. It's more feasible for his darling to break him than break them. Oh my goodness. I think he might be my favorite. Who knows? If I ever get kidnapped by this guy, at least I'll be rest assured that I will not be tortured or be tied to a bed or be mocked at or be abused by Dr. Frozen. Dr. Iceberg, because if you read his, oh my gosh, he is fucking abusive. He is the worst out of the worst. Cause oh my god, I remember when he literally said he would leave us for dead. It's the caucasity in him, I swear. The caucasity. Ugh, I hate him. Hello everyone, so it is in chapter 23. Again and again. Wine's POV. I looked down at my hands as I could feel the truck dump over some potholes. This is gonna end badly. I felt someone poke my cheek. Yes, I said, turning towards them. Why such a long face? Dr. Bailey asked, looking at me. I mean, you're lucky enough not to have anything wrong with you after that little fiasco that happened. Dr. Clove said as I turned to my other side. He's right, you know. Dr. Kondrake said as I looked at him on the other seats in front of me. Yeah, Yeah, I said, sighing, remembering the feeling of blood coming from my mouth as everyone panicked around me. I looked back down at my hands. I still don't remember why that happened. Wait, I do. No, I don't. I stopped and covered my ears. What was that? I stopped, rubbing my aching head. Where am I again? I looked at the ground of the truck and the multiple doctors around me, some of them looking at me questioningly or daydreaming. That's right, I'm going to meet a new SCP. So all of these doctors brought me to a truck to be moved so I could meet the thing, Abel. A male voice said, Abel. I muttered out loud as everyone seemed to snap their head towards me. I suddenly felt self-conscious. How do you know that name? Dr. Glass asked. You mean Abel? It's from the Bible, isn't it? Cain and Abel, you know. Cain, the firstborn, was a farmer, and his brother Abel was a shepherd. The brothers made sacrifices to God, each of his own produce, but God favored Abel's sacrifice instead of Cain's. Cain's then murdered Abel, whereupon etc., punished Cain by commending him to a life of wandering. I said. Dr. Glass chuckled. Oh, yes, I know the story. Just why bring it up? He asked as I paused. Maybe I just like the Bible, I said slowly. Yes, Ryan, that doesn't sound incriminating at all. Dr. Glass sighed and shook his head, seemingly to shake whatever thought was in his mind away. I wonder why I said that. I wonder why they reacted like that. It's probably has something to do with the SCP. Then why did I say that? How did I know? I snapped out of my thoughts as the truck stopped. The doors opened and some guards guided us out. I wonder why there are so many of them. I looked at all of the guards as we started to walk towards a small but extremely secure-looking building. You look worried. You okay? Dr. Kondrake asked me, whispering so no one else could hear us. Yeah, I'm okay. Just got a bad feeling. I muttered back, blushing at how close he was. Don't worry. Everything will work out. Dr. Kondrake said, why is he always so close to me? Was it because of that kiss? Is he trying to make me feel more comfortable around him? Or is he just in your face like that? Dr. Kondrake doesn't seem like the type to get in your face. That's more Dr. Clef. Dr. Kondrake is more the silent sidelines kind of guy. He stares and intimidates. We walked closer to the building. I looked around, seeing we were in some kind of desert of landscape with no one around us for miles. Then why is he trying to get close to me? It's weird. We walked into the building as I watched even more guards start to check if we have any weapons. Alright, everyone's clear, the main guard yelled as another guard grabbed my arm and pulled me towards a very ominous elevator. Yeah, well, guess I'll die. The guard pushed me into the elevator and waited with me as we both watched the doors close. I watched as I caught a glimpse of worry on all the doctors' faces before the doors fully closed. Just remember what Dr. Kondrake said. Everything will work out. It'll be fine. But he even looked worried. And what if when everything works out means it gets worse for me? It might work out for you, but I might die. Then everything will work out. The one that has been causing all your probably suddenly gets killed. I was snapped out of my thoughts as the elevator came to a stop and the doors opened. I looked down the hallway, seeing nothing but a slight wet interior. This is it. I could feel my whole body shaking. Why does it feel like I'm about to see something I should never have to see? I felt the guard tap my back, making me take a step forward. No, I don't want to. I don't want to. Please, Abel, stop. I started to slowly walk, feeling the weight of the room grow and grow. SCP-NOC, please approach the door in front of you. A voice over the intercom said as I walked up to the door. I took a deep breath in. I'm scared. The door slowly opened as I closed my eyes and walked forward. I'm really scared. I stopped and heard the door close behind me. Now, all I have to do is open my eyes. I shivered, feeling more dread seep in. I can't. I snapped my eyes open, staring at the black cube in front of me. I felt my whole body been set ablaze. Scream. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna scream. I'm tired. I screeched out, flinging my head as it was about to explode. I can't. I felt 1,000 of images pass in my mind in an instant. What? I felt my knees give under me as I fell to the cold, hard ground. Scream. I really hope y'all don't expect me to actually edit those screams, because that is ridiculous. I am so sorry, but that was ridiculous and it can be triggering for some people, so I ain't gonna do it. So yeah, sorry for background noise, but listen, it's good enough. I didn't even realize my voice was still calling out, nor did I realize the tears that streamed from my eyes. I didn't seem to notice when the locks on the door of the black cube slowly started to turn one by one. Please! I pulled my knees to my chest, crying hard into them. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. That's a lot. I could hear soft footsteps approaching me. I'm sorry, someone muttered. That voice. I slowly looked up, seeing Abel. You. I muttered through my sore throat. You're the one that... Flashback. I coughed. It hurts. I can't see. Where am I? I felt my body ache as the blood poured from my wounds, as I felt tears pour from my eyes as well. Help! I heard someone cough as I turned my head, watching a person walk towards me with a burning car behind him. The man walked over to me and crouched down. Calm down, you're bleeding out, he said as he ripped off his clothes and started to bandage my wounds. It hurts, help me. I am helping. Calm down, he said as I started to hear sirens. Shit, the man cursed as he looked down at me. I'm so sorry. I'll find you one day, just wait. I'm Abel. Please forgive me. I didn't mean you any harm. You were calling to me, he muttered as I could feel something wet fall onto my face. Who? I coughed. Why did you? I watched as tears streamed down his face as he muttered, I'm so sorry. Over and over again. I watched as I could see lights of red and blue in the distance.
I have to go, he muttered, standing up and looking down at me. We'll meet again, he muttered as he quickly ran off. End of flashback. Screaming. Too much. I let out an ear-piercing scream as I felt my brain was about to explode. I'm sorry, he muttered, bending down to my level. I cannot say stop that many times, but we can try. Okay. Stop. Okay, yeah, that was a fail. 100 times stop, etc. I could feel more tears spill from my eyes as some blood spilled from my mouth. Please forgive me, Abel muttered. I can't forgive you. I covered my mouth, feeling more blood slip from it. It's your fault. 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 It's my fault. My own voice rang in my head. It's always been my fault. I caused all of this. It was me alone. I shouldn't blame him. I was the one that called to him. I felt more tears pour from out of my eyes. I am the reason they're dead. I could feel the blood pour from my mouth as my vision started to spot. It was all my fault. I closed my eyes, so tired. I could feel the pain slowly fade and darkness swallow me. And we call these good yanderes. Dr. Bright's POV. I watched as Wine's body seems to fall to the side, unmoving and limp. What just happened? I stared at the tears that were still streaming down her face. Right, this is a test in YN. I need to get her out of there. I paused, looking around at the other observers as they started to write down their notes. Abel didn't kill her, but he's just standing there. I can't go in there because he'll kill me. In other words, I can't do anything. Pathetic. I tisked and looked down at my feet. I can't do anything. We can't let this continue. Any more damage on our physique could be permanent. On our psyche could be permanent. I fear it's already too late, Dr. Glass said to the main researcher, but we could still get valuable information. The researcher was stopped as the breach alarm quickly rang out. Everyone turned to the video feed showing just an empty room. Shit! We turned to the hallway video feed, seeing Abel walking with wine cradle in his arms. Shit! Flood the tunnel! Someone yelled as a young researcher was about to slam his hand down. Wait! I stepped towards the man, only to be stopped. No. Kadake grabbed the man's wrist. We do that, and we might lose something that's more important than anyone's lives here. Plus, it doesn't look like Abel means any harm. We looked back down to the camera, seeing Abel quietly walking into the elevator, waiting for the doors to close. Dr. Cliff walked over to one of the control panels, pressing a couple of buttons, making the elevator close and start to move. Are you mad? A researcher yelled as Dr. Clef walked out of the room and towards the elevator door. He's gonna die. The bastard's gonna die. Followed after him as I just saw he was standing in front of the elevator waiting. What happens if he gets violent? I asked. He won't. He reassured as the elevator door opened, seeing Abel holding wine close to him. That makes me angry. I felt my blood boil as Abel looked at us, seeming not to care about a present such. Take her, he demanded, as Dr. Clef walked over and slowly took Wyan in his arms, being careful not to cause any more damage. I'll kill you if you do anything bad to her, he muttered under his breath, backing up from us. MTF slowly surrounded us and pointed all of their guns at Abel. We have lots to talk about, Abel, a researcher said as he scoffed. Fine, but she matters more right now. I'll talk when she's okay. Abel snarled under his breath as the MFT surrounded Abel, seeming to restrain him. That man, he killed me, my body. He took everything from me. I paused looking at Wyan, but if it wasn't for this damn amulet, I wouldn't be able to meet Wyan, nor would I be able to stay by her side forever. My eyebrows furrowed and I looked down. Damn it, but that doesn't still excuse that she can't stay by my side forever. I looked back up to Wyan as Dr. Clef started to move away from the crowd. Let's just focus on making sure she can stay by my side right now.
I followed after them quietly, but still making sure I was known. Okay, I respect. So we found out Abel was basically a guy that was cursed to walk on the earth practically forever. Since basically the kind of very beginning of time. Kind of fucking crazy. That is fucking insane. Hello everyone. So this is like a video days later, but because I wasn't able to finish it in that specific day, but this is all I'm gonna be reading for now. I do apologize for the inconvenience. But I do hope you guys did enjoy these chapters that we've read so far. Um, let me know what you guys think is gonna happen in the next chapter or the next incoming of couple of chapters down in the comments down below. We are slowly but surely finishing up the story. Oh, sorry. With a couple, because after 2 or 3 chapters we go through all the endings, which there is a lot of endings, so we shall see. But if you want to go ahead and let me know which one you would choose before we even start reading, just take a guess on which one you think would be the best. Would it be Dr. Bright's, Dr. Clef's, Dr. Kondrake's, Dr. Glass, Dr. Iceberg, Dr. Gerald, or Dr. Gears? Let me know in the comments below before you guys actually read any of them, because I want to know, like, after we read through all of them, I'm going to tell you my personal opinion on which one is best, because one has to be better than the other, or if they're just all bad. So, we shall see. Sorry to cut this very short, but I do hope you guys did enjoy. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more amazing videos, guys. I will try my best to keep posting more and more videos. It's just I've got struck with family situations and all that, and it's been very hard on my mental health. But I am taking care of myself and communicating as much as possible. I wish I could give you guys a bit more specifics, but honestly, if I just start explaining, I'm gonna end up crying. So it's not something that I would like to talk about, but just letting you guys know, because I feel like you guys deserve to know if I don't post for a little bit, because I know it's been very inconsistent, but trust me, I'm trying to keep it consistent. Trying. But I ain't perfect. Nobody is. But as long as you take time to yourself, if you need it, it's worth it in the end. But anyways, guys, sadly, your girl's gotta go. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I hope you take good care of your guys' mental health like I'm trying to with mine. Bye, and peace.